Hey, Chris Williams here with Group Coach Nation. Now, let's just be honest about this. Most of us got into podcasting for one of two reasons. Number one, we have information and we're trying to monetize it, right? We're trying to figure out a way to take what we know and get out there and make a living off of it. Number two, we have a passion about something and we just want to get our message out there. And then we end up realizing down the road, a couple months, couple weeks, maybe a couple years into it, oh my gosh, this is a ton of work. I got to freaking get paid for this. I got to be able to hire staff, pay for systems, or just quit my own job so I can actually do this full time because I love teaching, I love sharing, I love getting stories out, I love interviewing people, all those things, right? It always comes back to money. Now, here's the sad truth. I think the number is somewhere around 98% of podcasters don't make any money. And most of us fail out of podcasting because we don't make money. And it's not because we're greedy or we're just doing it for the wrong reasons. It's because it costs money to do this. It costs time to do this. And to make it sustainable, we got to figure out a way to actually generate revenue. So let's dive into generating revenue. Now, here's how this works. You can go down the path of generating very, very small amounts of revenue in very small ticket priced items and sell a ton of those things. If you have a large audience, that works. It just takes a long time to create a large audience. And the question is, can you sustain your current pace to build that large audience and be able to monetize that in time for you to be able to keep after it for a long, long time, make yourself happy and make yourself like actually actualizing what you're here to do, right? Actualizing who you're meant to be as a voice giver to the community you're serving, who you're meant to be as an interviewer, and how you're actually impacting the world. Can you sustain that on your current track? Like, I would stop there for just a second before we get into high ticket masterminds and all that. Just stop there for a second and just like look in the mirror financially. Can you sustain the current track you're on, the current growth rate you have, and how long you think it will take you to monetize this thing at your current rate? So if you're building a large audience, you're trying to build an audience and you're going to monetize that audience, are you actually getting somewhere where you can really make a sustainable amount of income on your current track? If you are, awesome, you're in the top 2%. If you're not, let's build a plan. Okay, so here's what I did when I started podcasting. I realized early on, my first podcast, I did not realize this. My second podcast, I did. When I first started podcasting, I was working on a passion project, but as an entrepreneur, I also knew I wanted to convert that into revenue because I knew I had to make it sustainable. I did it all the wrong way. Wonderful podcast, great experience, awesome guests, but I just didn't do it the right way to make it sustainable. So we had to quit, right? Option two, the second way I did it, I actually built the high ticket program first and then built a podcast around a revenue source so that I could pursue my passion as a podcaster and as a voice without actually having to go into push, trying to crank revenue out of a machine that wasn't built for revenue. So here's high ticket mastermind building. Let's talk about that for a second. If you're someone who loves the microphone, you're a podcaster. You could also be a great high ticket mastermind leader. If you're someone who likes being on camera, you're a podcaster. I get it. You could also lead a high ticket mastermind. If you're an expert in your field, you're a podcaster. You could also lead a high ticket mastermind. And if you love to give, if giving is a natural thing for you, then you can definitely lead a high ticket mastermind. And it's one of the major qualities of being a podcaster. Podcasters and high ticket mastermind leaders are very, very aligned. That's why this works so well for so many people, me included. So here's how you do it. You got to go after the highest ticket program or process you can stomach. Now, the reason I say it that way is because it's really hard for a lot of us when we're used to something low cost or free like podcasting to make that switch and say, I'm going to start charging $5, $10, $20, $50, $100,000 to teach someone my expertise. That's a big jump for a lot of people to kind of get their brain around. Well, I'm in this free or very low cost model. How do I want to go after this? This is like a whole different thing. No, it's really not. Because here's the thing. People who are listening to you, people who are guesting on your show, people you're guesting on their shows, these people are hanging around you because they actually like you. They actually want the information you have. They want to experience what you know. They want to get ahead of the process. And they want you to take them there. That's why they're listening. Now, there's a slice of those people in the population that are listening to you or being your guest or you're being a guest on their show who actually want to just take a quantum leap forward and be where you are with your success and overcome the hurdles right now. And time is more important to them than money. They'd prefer to get somewhere faster and spend money to get there. All of us have those two assets, right? We have X amount of money and X amount of time. Now, everybody has a different scale of what's that worth to them. So we got to be really careful not to allow our scale of money versus time. Maybe you value money more than time right now. Maybe you value time more than money. Whatever it is, don't let your value set impact the people that you're selling to. They have their own value set. And a lot of people actually would prefer to pay a higher price to get help from you directly in a very efficient way. Now, let's talk about efficiency. Sure, you could say, okay, Chris, I get it. I need to go out there and charge 10, 15, 20, 50,000, $100,000 for consulting and teach people what I know how to do. If they want to know how I do it, I can teach them that right price. Let's go. That's cool. But ultimately, you're changing your hours for dollars. You will eventually become your worst nightmare. You are going to change your hours for dollars. You're going to sell $100,000 consulting gigs one-on-one. Eventually, you're going to have enough clients where you can't sell anymore. You're like, Chris, awesome, cool problem to have. I got 5 clients paying me $100K each. That's $500,000 a year. Let's go. I get it. But by the time you grow to that space, you're going to realize it's a problem. It starts to eat up your life, and it doesn't give you the freedom that you're hoping the money will give you. So simply make one shift. Turn it into a mastermind. Just start where you are right now and turn this into a mastermind. People, again, they want what you know how to do. If you're a natural giver and a great communicator, you can help them overcome what they're working on with your expertise, probably the expertise you're talking about all the time on your podcast. Then jump in there and help them. But instead of teaching one-on-one, invite people to a high-ticket mastermind. All right, this is what's cool about masterminds. You don't have to do this over and over and over and over and over again. You can teach 5, 10, 15 people all at the same time. You can have a 2-hour session once a week with 10 people learning from you and working together. Give them processes and problems to solve and homework, and stay in contact with them and let them grow together. You know what? People change 5 times faster in communities, in groups, than they do with a one-on-one coach. I know. You think, well, Chris, I want to work with them so specifically. I want to really help them grow and help them figure out what's going on. And like, I want to be right there with them, but I got to make sure that I work with them one-on-one because it's so particular and so custom. Believe it or not, that's not the case. People grow and change slower one-on-one than they do with a group. So put them in a group. If it's 5 people at a time, that's awesome. If it's 10 people at a time, good for you. At some point, you get too many people in there and you can't actually help them effectively. So keep it a small group, 5, 10, 15, somewhere in there. And remember, charge what this thing is worth. What is your information worth? If you were to teach them what they want to know and they practiced it for an entire year, not if they were in your mastermind for a year, you don't have to have a year-long mastermind, it could be short. But if they're going to practice what you teach them and they're going to do it for 12 months straight and commit to what you've told them to do, what kind of change is it going to make in their life or their business? Can you put a price tag on that? Can you put a real value on that? If so, then charge them 10 to 20% of that value. So let's say you're going to really impact their business in a way that's going to bring a $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, let's say $1 million difference in the next year. Great. Awesome. Good for you. Then charge them 10 to 20% of that. Yeah, $100,000 to $200,000. Right. Oh my gosh, Chris, I couldn't do that. Tons of people are. You can. If you're like, Chris, I just can't. Okay, then settle for $50,000 per seat. Like, you can do this. Your information, your blood, sweat, and tears, and years of expertise building that you've done is what people are paying for. They're not paying you for the fix today. They're paying you to avoid all the pain you've been through so they can just jump straight to the front of the line. That's why people pay for information and for connection to you. Stop selling one-on-one, start selling in groups. Don't go low ticket, go high ticket. Learn how to monetize your knowledge, your processes, your information so that you can be sustainable for the long haul. High ticket group coaching equals sustainability. You don't need to build a value ladder. You don't need to start with low ticket. You don't need to have a low ticket, then a course, then some kind of summit, then a group. Then all those things are wonderful if they're the right thing for you and your business model. But if you're just starting out and trying to figure this out, or if you're like an expert already and you're doing those things, you know what I'm talking about. Get this high ticket mastermind thing going. If you're already building a high ticket mastermind and you're struggling to see it work and see it like actually grow and build, and you're like, this is frustrating, Chris, stay with it. Ask questions of people who are doing it well and figure it out. You will get it. And when you do, it will change your life. It'll actually give you the financial and time freedom that you became an entrepreneur to accomplish. It's actually the path many of us try to go down, and we get frustrated and we quit. Don't quit. You can build this thing that you want. You can have your time. You can have your freedom. You can be a sustainable podcaster. You can be someone who moves a market and shifts gears for so many people because you get to influence them in a real way. But to make that happen, we have to be sustainable. And to make that happen, we have to have income and time freedom. Both of those things, financial freedom and time freedom, create sustainable business models. If you have one of those, you collapse. Either one it is. If it's only one, you collapse. If it's neither, you collapse way faster. Sustainability comes with both. High ticket masterminds are amazing in this information space because it allows you to be sustainable and allows you not to collapse. Go do the work. Change people's lives. That's why you're here, right? That's why you're doing this awesome project that you're working on. But make sure you can change their lives a year from now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Do the work to get the results for you and for them. Just please do the right work.